Welcome to Becoming Fearless. My name is Brian, and in today's episode of Becoming Fearless, we've got Erik Von Sydow, who is also known as Hypnotica. For a lot of people who've read the game, you'll probably remember him from the game by Neil Strauss. He is also known as the Inner Game Guru, the author of Metawhore. He's a coach, he's a hypnotist. He's a gentleman that just is a walking dichotomy. He's extremely spiritual, yet extremely masculine all at the same time. He's also very much into sex and sexuality. He's polysexual, has a very experimental life, and always has. In the book Metawhore, he really talks about that exploration that he's done over his lifetime up to where he is now with sex and sexuality. He's a manager of strip bars. I mean, you name it, this guy's done it. If there was ever a box, he blew it out. I want you to pay close attention to Erik's lifestyle. How this guy really went out of his way to create the life he wanted and didn't give a rat's ass what anybody thought of him, and how he went for it unapologetically, but at the same time is very caring about people. It's interesting how much he seems to actually care about people. So notice all the dichotomies in Erik, and notice how beautifully they work together, and notice what an interesting individual he is. As you go through the episode today, just ask yourself, what would you do if you weren't afraid? Today I'm excited to be interviewing Erik Von Sydow, also known as Hypnotica, and Yaz will be joining me, Yaz Giraldo, to
grill me,
throw in the female perspective. Yes, and one of the things I love about Erik is he calls himself a social scientist, right?
It's the closest description I can really think of with what I do.
Erik works heavily with understanding the mind and how to shift your mind, how to shift your reality. Starting from the inside out, really go in there and make that internal change that's causing resistance inside you to help you change your external reality. And especially with confidence, women, sex, sexuality. Like, you were a big social scientist around sex, right?
Those are my interests.
Okay. Did I miss any?
No, you've done pretty well.
Fixing up homes. He has a beautiful home here, by the way. So today we want to talk about that, creating your own reality. One of the things that I really love that you do is you're a master at creating your own reality. Like, this office is an expression of you, but your whole house is pretty much that way. You have this beautiful area with the jacuzzi where you have a lot of your parties and all the tikis and the torches, and you have your kitchen alone. There's a lot of creativity in your kitchen and the way you eat and the way you live your life. It's outside the box of the way most people would think they could live. Have you always been that way? Did you have to create that?
I think it comes back to just being true to yourself. The way I look at it is, like, when people say think outside the box or it's outside the box, that's a human limitation. It's human thought that there even is a box. There is no box. And so when people understand that there is no box, that we generate everything from it's an extension of our personality. It's an extension of who we are. Yeah. And when you were young and little, you drew a tree and it would look like a tree, but it was your own creativity. People say that's not a tree. So that's kind of the way I look at it. Is everything that's going on around me is it's an expression of what I believe, what I enjoy, what I want around me. It's my own personal environment.
I love what you just said there. Tear down that don't have a box, but a lot of people do have a box, unfortunately. And what you're saying is, do you think you were kind of born without a box, or did you have to tear it down?
I'm a man, so I definitely don't have a box.
Well, not in that sense.
Okay, well, I'm good on ambiguous terms as well. Yeah. It's part of the hypnosis training.
Exactly.
No, I guarantee that I was in a box, if we're going to talk about it that way.
Yeah, because I think what I'm curious about is what it took for the average person. They're trying to break out of their box, in a sense.
It took me many years. Yeah. I mean, I went through a conscious deconstruction of where I was at. I mean, that's why if you read the book Metawhore, I was talking about going and living on the street, playing with all kinds of psychedelic substances to break my reality, putting myself in social experiments that would break down the way that I was thinking. So it took me many, many years to go through that, to get to the point where I didn't care what people thought. I started to live the way I wanted to live. I bypassed the 2 critical fear factors. Like, if you listen or if you read the book Iconoclast, it talks about there's 2 different fears that limit full creativity, and that's the fear of uncertainty and the fear of public ridicule. So when I explored those and I really pushed myself to get beyond what I thought about what other people thought about me, putting myself in situations like that, boom, all of a sudden you reprogram the way your mind thinks, and you start seeing from an abundant mindset of absolute full expression of whatever you want to create.
So where were you before getting to this point, before this whole thing came around? Where were you? Who were you?
I was a typical kind of jock. I wouldn't say I was mean-spirited, but I was definitely not conscious.
You were not happy with yourself?
Well, at that point in time, no. I think there was a lot of insecurities. Back then I was working out more because that was the only thing. Because I wasn't really the best-looking kid, and or things like this. So, and I was kind of fat and missing 2 teeth and freckles and all that. So, I used working out as that was my confidence. And I used to party a lot. I used to go and drink, and I was a surfer as well. I was a little bit more open-minded in high school. I still had that. There was a little bit of that side because I went into the choir, the show choir, mainly because there was a lot of women there. But that broke the mold because the show choir at the time basically had a few guys that were kind of skinny and more on the feminine side, and all of a sudden here comes a linebacker, into there,
Nice.
and starts it. And then by the end of when I graduated, we had half the football team in there, and we had a very unique show choir. But it was that part of me that was always a little bit there, I guess, like you should say, is that I was always kind of going against the grain a little bit. So to get to your question, I was a typical American kid, didn't really know what I wanted to do. And that's a fear-based mentality. You don't really know what you want. You're trying to find out who you are. And so that's really where I started from.
And is there anything or anyone that inspired you to take the change to?
Yeah. These are the people, I'll kind of kick it off. These are the people that inspired me. All right, so I'm going to get into like some of I do like spoken word and stuff like this. I go, and if you know who some of these people are, I go, Sun Ra, Escher, Dolly, Bruce, Chaplin, Tesla, Disney, Seuss, Da Vinci's another, along with Einstein, H.G. Wells, traveled through time. Joplin, Hendrix, Morrison too, open Huxley's doors to increase the view. Burroughs, Carey, and others yet known, Kaufman, Williams, winters have grown. From this place deep inside where the imagination stirs and creativity thrives. Then there's Bates and Bandler, Crowley, Leary. They all live their lives beyond book theory. Malcolm X, Gandhi, King, took a bullet, Nellie's angels sing. Jane's addiction, Rollins' tool, all created to break the rule. Korzybski, Chomsky, the semantic priest, questioned reality to say the least. Milton Erickson, the hypnotic ace, studied and taught to help ease this rate. All these men helped forge the race so that we could see a better day. Those are my inspirations.
Oh, wow.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger.
We can say that you made an effort to get to know beyond your limits, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to be inspired. You wanted to look for something different.
Well, these are the men that personally inspired me. When you look at them, like we're our role models, and back then it wasn't so bad as now. When you look at now and you see like the role models on TV, it's disgusting. It's just crap. Like I get irritated when I'm working out 24-hour fitness and I'm doing my cardio, and I'm looking at them, they just got trash TV. Jersey Shore or just, the Jerry Springer shows, you're just seeing trash mentality. And so youngins are seeing this going, oh, these older people are acting like this. So where's the model?
Yeah.
And I hate working out and strengthening my body and then sitting here poisoning my mind.
Yeah.
So you want to be a different type of role model?
I want to be able to break the mold. And I'm not trying, that's not my goal. But I realized through just who I am and kind of my own vision is that's kind of what I do naturally, and it's been a pattern in my life. Football player going in the choir. I drive a Prius. I have a Yorkie poo and a Maltese dog. There's just a pattern of just saying, hey, I like to sing, I like to do poetry, I like to garden. So when guys look at me, they go, oh, most people look at me and they go, oh, he's a meathead. Works out, kind of one of these things, and then that's so far away from who I am. I don't enjoy fighting. I did in the past, but when you get to this level, you just really see everything's just an extension of you, and the more if you buy into it, then you're adding the energy to that negative viewpoint. So I do my best to stay in the positive view and create from there.
I like a lot of what you said. I've read your book, most of your book. I got a little bit more to read. And there was a lot of similarities, completely different, but there was a lot of similarities to the way I view life because, I did a lot of mind training throughout my life. And at 9 years old, I wanted to learn to meditate. And then shortly thereafter, I started reading every personal growth book I could get my hands on. I go through hypnosis school, I do all this stuff. ended up surprisingly reading your book in the same yoga, for lack of a better term, cult that you did. And then I went out to San Diego, out to the big retreat center for a while. And again, that was a huge moment for me, because again, it was about breaking my paradigms of how I thought I had to live. Up until then, I always had cubicle jobs. I thought, I can't survive without a cubicle job. But, I got to do what my family did. At that point, I sat in this place, which was a complete clusterfuck in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. But sitting in that clusterfuck, I realized...
It was free to be a clusterfuck and to do whatever you wanted to do.
Exactly.
It was a 24-hour, basically it was a 24-hour creative community, DJs, yoga people, the most complete, coolest, dysfunctional place you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
And you could basically do anything there, and we did. And that's, the way I look at it is it's kind of like, where are the safe spots to make that rites of passage?
Yeah.
Because you have to unlearn what you were taught to learn, and that's not really who you are. It's what other people's influences, society's influences, were put on you. Then comes the process of it's time to unlearn, unravel, and that's not an easy path.
But you said the two things were just a little while ago. One was I can put them in my words. I understood what you said, but you said it in a specific way.
Fear of uncertainty and the fear of public ridicule.
Right, and I see both of those throughout my life, because I used to be massively shy. I couldn't talk to anybody, couldn't get up and speak. And I had to break all that. So fear of public ridicule was huge for me. And what I also noticed is the most successful people in the world, i.e. like Richard Branson's of the world, people like that, don't have a fear of uncertainty. They have none. Actually, uncertainty excites them. And I'm wondering, from talking to people and kind of learning more about your life, that it seems like you have that same kind of sense of, there's unknown over there. I want to go explore it.
You know what I think everything comes down to? And when I say the fear of uncertainty, I think it's about being absolutely 100% immensely curious. Like, I'm immensely curious about people. When I get to sit down with them, I want to get to know what's going on. And that's, like I said, curiosity is huge. If you lose your curiosity, you're completely screwed.
Yeah.
At least I think I'm, what I've seen. And I'm curious about everything. Every day I'm watching YouTube videos on health, education, things like this, because I'm curious. Like that, my workout routine when I do my cardio, that's basically my active learning. I always watch one seminar a day when I do my cardio, and over the course of a year, it's a lot. So I'm massively curious about what makes things tick. What's the first principles in living a powerful life, and then doing it, and realizing you're human as well, and there's a lot of off the balance point, but it's getting back on and doing it.
Falling down, getting back up.
Oh yeah, plenty of times. You don't get there. Just with the way I've eaten, going to pretty much the raw lifestyle. And I screwed up today. Like I said, I came in late. I got sucked in with the Starbucks. I mean, white chocolate mocha. So
that's balance.
Huh?
That's balance.
Yeah, it's an extreme balance from healthy to caffeine and everything like this. But my goal is 100% raw, organic, living the ultimate powerful lifestyle where my energy's optimal.
So when you say raw, you've given up meat and all that stuff?
I haven't had meat for about 4 or 5 years.
So okay. So when you say raw, it's not vegan. It's 100% raw.
I do my best. Right now it's 70%. I should say live food.
Interesting.
Live food. Raw is basically avocados, lemons, anything like that. That's basically not cooked.
Most of the guys that I meet that stay big and muscle-wise usually are mostly vegan.
Really?
That don't eat meat. And it's interesting that you're doing it mostly raw. So to me, that fascinates me a lot.
Well, there's more nutrients in it. The way I look at it like this is, and when you're eating live food, sprouts, these are things that are living already. So you have about 15 minutes to really get what I call the health out of it. And there's an acronym called HOPE. When you cut something, about 15 minutes later, you lose a lot of these. The O is the oxygen, the P is the phytochemicals, the E is the enzymes, and the H is the hormones. So the hormones. So after 15 minutes, you lose most of that. There's like a biogenesis. So you can actually take on the life force from that, which will increase your own life force. Mm-hmm. So that's why I like live food, because you're getting stuff that's live, and it's transferring Genesis right to you.
And you keep your mass eating raw.
I'm strong as an ox.
Yeah. What do you use what do you attribute specifically in the raw diet that keeps the mass on you, the size on you?
Lentils. I also use the Son of Warrior protein, which is a great protein. Minerals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really up on minerals. I think minerals are one of the most powerful things that you can do. And I have a hell of a breakfast drink. So I mean, it's got everything in there. So I start off right and do it, and every time I'm on point, you get compliments. Your energy's just strong. So it's that balance point too. Because when I fall off, I go, okay, and I notice the energy, and it's interesting. So when you're really on point, you're eating clean, you're eating healthy, I believe your energy comes up. And I believe there's a certain point where your energy hits where you get your life mission. Because when I was really cranking, and I pretty much know what it is, but when I'm really cranking, it's like it activates that higher level in your brain. You have more energy and you start seeing your vision. And I think a lot of people are just so low on energy that they're cutting corners and they're just trying to get by with their energy. So it's the same thing. If you're in a remote control car, the battery's dead, you're just like,
Yeah.
You have a full battery, you're like, jump in. It's like, that's the difference.
But you just said something that I've always thought was important. I want to kind of make sure the audience understands that you guys get this, that the importance of eating healthy is not just to be healthy. If you're changing your mind, you're a social scientist in a sense. You really want to work with your mind. You really want to change the way you think, and you really want to build that, maybe more confidence, more awareness, more depth of feeling. How important is eating healthy?
It's funny because when I first started teaching guys about that, it was all about mindset. It was all about beliefs. It was all about your intention. To me now, it's all about your health, because of the fact when I feel good, I'm radiating. Like I'm alive. I feel good. I'm energized, and that's attractive. When you're doing that, like other people kind of go, yeah, I feel pretty good too. So I think that really comes down to now. I really center a lot about that. Yeah, I can go and teach all the other stuff and things like this, but when you really feel good and you have energy and you wake up out of bed and you're inspired, that's attractive. And you're doing your own thing. And when I said you're on that vision, you're on that purpose, people follow. People want to follow. And that's why I don't know if you've seen all the new YouTube videos that I've been putting out. I just started this whole thing, and it talks about the leadership. It talks about all the things that we're talking about. It's really, really good stuff, and that's really where it comes from. If you feel shitty, it's like your energy's sucking in. I don't want to be a vampire to anybody. You know what I mean? I don't want to be taking. I want to be showering. I want to be overflowing. So when the person's in my presence, it's like cool. It's already random, and it's a very powerful thing, because think about it, 7.2 billion people on the planet, and we're having interaction right now. What are the odds of that?
Pretty low, ultimately.
I
mean, I could be talking, who knows, what are the odds that I'd be born on this part of the world, this close to you, we'd end up meeting several times throughout our lives, and it is pretty low. When you think about how many times...
What are the odds of you being between two really cool men?
Yeah.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Inspired.
Getting radiating from this side and this side.
And then you start relating things of yourself and identifying yourself with people and the things that you want to get to know. Yeah. Like when you try to feel yourself well, and you combine this with exercise, and you not only clean your body but your mind, and then therefore your spirit, and then there's when you start inspiring others.
Yeah.
And then that's what I get to see from you guys. So do you do any meditation besides exercising?
I do. You know what? I don't really meditate because I've kind of meditate throughout my day. Like I'm usually in a form of meditation. People are like, "Oh, you're so calm," and it's just because I'm just in this state of kind of neutralness. And I do. Hypnotica. I love hypnosis. I love creating works, and then figuring out, okay, where do I want to put my energy? What's the vision that I want to go for? And pretty much most of the products that I released were because those are things that I personally wanted, so I personally created them for myself. Like I was my own kind of teacher.
Collection of confidence.
It's like, this is what I wanted. This is what I wish I had. Mm-hmm. If I had this when I first started, because there was nothing when I first started. There's a couple guys coming together.
For everybody out there, Collection of Confidence, can you kind of tell them what it is real quick?
Collection of Confidence is just a very basic program. It's a foundation. If you don't even know where to start and you want to get better with women, there's nothing out there, I believe, that's better, because it's got hypnosis, it's got exercises, it's got basic, simple principles that go through just to start transforming your mind. So it's a very basic, but it's a good place to start.
And that's an online program, or not an online, it's a CD set, right?
Now it's a digital download.
Digital download. Yeah. Where can they get that for anybody that's interested?
Probably my website, hypnotica.org.
Hypnotica.org, so that's pretty easy. So it's Hypnotic with an A at the end. I wanted to talk a little bit about specifically confidence. We talk a lot at Fearless about attention and your relationship attention. And one of the things I find in today's world is a lot of men are, one of my old mentors used to call it the curse of the middle class, chasing security over everything else and trying to get as much tension out of their life as possible. And stress is bad, and if I can create a life where I have the least amount of stress possible, the most security, life will be good. And in that, I find people lose passion. They don't go for anything. And I find the real men in the world have developed an appreciation for tension, for stress. They actually, they work in cycles. And it's not like they want stress on them all the time, but they want to rest, step into tension, make something happen, build in the tension, and then take a break and then do it again, just like day and night. And from talking to different people about you in the past, it sounds like you really took a conscious effort to get good under tension, to be calm and centered under tension. There's the old famous stories about you, about the dress and the dildo.
You gotta figure, stress is a part of our lives. There's eustress, which is good stress, and then there's stress, chronic stress, and that's stressing about money, relationship stuff. That's bad stress. That can eat away with it. Eustress would be stress that's gonna make you better.
Challenge.
When you work out, when you do weights, that's stress on your body. Your body adapts to it, it gets stronger. Mm-hmm. So those are kind of the differences I see in that. To go through life without any kind of challenge, exactly what you said, to me it's boring. Mm-hmm. I strive more to be uncomfortable than comfortable. And when I know that I'm uncomfortable, it means that I'm pushing myself. And
I so love you said that.
And it's not about like striving to get somewhere, because I'm already there as far as my mentality. Like I'm like I said, I'm the most peaceful, happiest person that I know. So it's okay, but I still have things that I would like to create. And so I'm not going to get that. Like if I sit down and say I'm going to create a really cool video, I got to go through the mindset of sitting down there and saying, okay, what do I want to do, and think. And sometimes that can be challenging. You got stresses that come up, and I'm sure running a strip club for 22 years with crazy strippers and alcohol, stress, and testosterone, you're going to have to learn how to handle pressure. Yeah. And people, well,
you're going to handle pressure, I imagine, in the form of a lot of drama. I mean, just from the audience alone, but then you have all the dancers and all the different personalities.
You got the dancers, the waitresses, you got money problems, you got drunk customers. Yeah, and so when it's all going around, everyone will key off of the leader. And I was the leader. And when I'm the leader, I set the pace for how the club goes. If I look calm, everyone else is going to go, okay, cool, he's got it down. If I look scared and like, oh shit, then it's going to become chaos. So a person in a leadership situation really has to maintain what's that level. If shit's going down, you don't want to look scared. You want to understand, okay, what needs to happen. And ultimately, within the silence, between the silence, there's always an answer. It's just a matter of what are you focusing on? Where's your attention at? If your attention's like, oh shit, like you've already lost, and you've lost the confidence of those around you.
Yes, I agree with that 100%. And there's something that one of my old teachers used to say, and I've seen a few other teachers say it too. What they would say, if you're willing to lead an uncomfortable life, you can have a very comfortable life. But if you, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but if you're chasing comfort and you won't, then you're going to have a very, very uncomfortable life.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a different way of saying it, but I tell a lot of kids and stuff like this, you take the easy path. If you want to take the easy path first, it can get tough. If you learn to take the hard path first, it's going to get easy.
Nice.
And that's kind of what it is. You don't want to do your dishes, you don't want to do your homework, you don't want to do it. Okay, that's the easy path. See, it's easy to do what's complacent. It's easy to do what the masses do, because that's what they are. They're the masses. And I'm not saying I'm going to say one's better than the other. I'm just saying people are kind of just lazy. It's harder. It's not a lot harder, but it is harder to want to revere yourself enough to take up your own level of expectation. It does come down to creation. What is it you want to create? And how do you want to create it? And that's creativity. That's the form of thought.
And if you're stressed out, your mind's racing and it's bouncing all over the place between all your worries, how do you focus on what you want to create. It's really kind of hard.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's the thing. Some people turn to drugs, alcohol, lots of different distractions. Sex, lots of different distractions along the way to get their mind off of the tension. But when you really, what I call man up, take responsibility and look at it and go, okay, you know what, we're going to handle this. Then you build strength. You don't look at all the other things that are crutches.
Right.
You build strength from that. And when you can handle that, because I believe you can absolutely handle everything that comes your way. When you handle it, then you build that level, that first foundation. You're like, okay, cool, I got that. The next layer comes, it's not so hard, but you have more of a confidence to deal with it. It's like the first time, a girl said, oh, you're ugly. Well, first you're like, oh, fuck. You get rid of it, she's okay, that's her perspective. It is what it is. It doesn't affect me whatsoever, So she's got bad taste, whatever. Whatever you want to say to yourself, it's okay. Because we live in multi-universes already. So my universe exists and hers exists, and she's entitled to hers and I'm entitled to mine, and that's okay. So it's the willingness just to realize, like, you're creating your universe, you're creating your universe, everyone's creating their own, we're all in different universes right now. That's the beauty of it. So whatever I choose to believe is going to be my reality.
Yeah, if you study quantum physics, that's more real than people think. You say it sounds metaphorically that you're saying it, but it's actually, there's a lot of truth to that. And it's pretty freaky when you get down into it.
It's exciting because that's look how many more possibilities that there are. If it was just my way or your way, my lifestyle. Okay, my lifestyle's counterculture. It's definitely different. But most religions and people say, okay, you should either be a triangle, a circle, or a square, and this should be it. One man, one woman. If you're gay or whatever, you're on this side. No, like we have 7.2 billion. Imagine just how boring that would be, just trying to fit 7.2 billion in 3 pegs. There should be hundreds and hundreds of pegs. And nobody should say, hey, this is the way you should be, or this is the way you should. No, it's the way it is.
And that's the direction we're moving. We're going to talk about, polyamorous, polysexual lifestyle, different alternative lifestyles, because you're a big believer in that. We filmed something for a TV show that might get picked up called Sexpression, which involves people that have those lifestyles. Before I jump to that, we alluded to this idea of social experimentation. We talked about it. You did some pretty crazy stuff. Can you share with people some real-world examples of some of the ways that you played with getting what I would call getting good in tension and getting comfortable in tension and getting building confidence in a sense?
I don't want to say it was building confidence, but it was going against the grain. This is part of unlearning all the things I did and some of the experiments that I did. One was, I was with Steve P., who also is a teacher in this realm that we do, and I was driving my truck and I'm like, you know what? I want to do something. He goes, what do you mean? I said, just bear with me. And it's like, you can get out now if you want. He goes, no. So I pull up into Staples. Staples is a big store, and pulled like right where the sliding doors are. Just pulled my car right in there and just sat there.
Oh, you pulled into the doors?
Yeah.
The way I remember him telling me the story was you pulled in front of the doors.
Well, right. It was right there. I sat there, just rolled the windows, and the manager comes down and he's like, what are you doing? And I go, parking. I'm like, the window. You can't park here. Yes, I can. He's like, no, you can't. That went on. And see, and that could be looked at as the guy's being an asshole.
It could be.
Okay, it could be. At that point in time, like I said, that's what I wanted to do, is go against the grain, like learn how not to do that. When ordering, driving to a McDonald's thing, be like, give me a fucking Big Mac thing, just because I was so used to being conforming.
You're used to following the social rules.
Yeah, following the social rules. So it's like, I want to break the rules. And that was my own thing. And yeah, it could get you in trouble and it could be looked at like you're an asshole and things like that. But at that point in time, that's what the passion was for exploring that. We talked about.
It makes me think of all these YouTube channels that are out now where people are breaking social norms, and then they use hidden camera video, and they're making whole channels, and everybody's watching it, getting fascinated by this.
Well, it's a fascinating thing when you find that freedom to do it. And now, like I said, would I do something like that? No, I don't need to. But at that point in time, it was like I was pushing. There was no one else. I just couldn't go to my friends, hey, let's go do this. There was no one else that I knew that was understanding what I was going through, because back in the day when I had my little enlightening moment of my universal moment, I'd call it, nobody else at that level understood what that was. Mm-hmm. And nobody understood me. My friends, they thought I was going kind of crazy. I didn't know what I wanted. So I didn't have a plan. There wasn't anyone I could turn to and say, who can I study or read that's going to explain what I'm going through? at this point in time. You know, at that point in time, they call it the dark night of the soul.
Yep.
And that's where it was. And I didn't, there wasn't much information. There was no one that was like me teaching it. I mean, most of these guys were like spiritual gurus and yogis that were like,
well,
that wasn't my style.
You just said a big mouthful there. There's a lot of spirituality out there that's very sweet or feminine or and it's a beautiful thing. We need it. But where's the edgy stuff, the masculine side, the powerful side of it too? Because both are needed. And I find there's a huge hunger for that other side.
I didn't find anyone out there that I studied that I was like, okay, that looks boring. Like, that's not passion. And remember when I was living at the loft, we did this one. I remember some Indian lady came in and she was this huge, I guess, spiritual guru. And me and Dean, you met Dean, he lived there. And so we went there and we were doing a lot of videoing stuff at the time. And it was just like, just peaceful. And that's great. The list is fantastic. You know, and we dressed up, we got on the green screen, and so it was like, do you want to live like this, just home, or do you want to live like, yeah, rock and roll, you know, just kind of rock and roll like Thunder Guru? And that was my energy. And I'm like, that's fun, like that's exciting, like that's celebration. Mm-hmm. You know, it's that to me, the other side, fantastic. If you're looking for serenity, if you're looking for peace, if you're looking for bliss, that's extremely important. However, there's a side of full pedal to the metal, like living life to the fullest, like celebrating on that side. And there was no one out there like that. So I was like, okay, well, you know, what looks happier? I'm having a great time over here, and they're having a peaceful time. You know, they're both good, but there was no models.
What do you need in your life at that time, too? You know, maybe if you've had a wild life and you want to settle down now and find some more peace, you might go one direction. But if you've been in a box, as we say, as I said earlier on, your whole life, and you want to bust free of that box for a little while, and you really want to feel what it's like to let go and live with more passion, you might go the other route.
Either one's is gonna give you a certain outcome.
Yeah,
they're both good. You know, as long as you're not hurting anyone. And that's my thing. If you're not hurting anyone, how about it? Do whatever you want to do.
Mm. And you talked about rolling the dice. What was that?
Well, rolling the dice was one where it was getting a group involved. So now we had a group, and so it was fun. So there was 5 people, or I think there was 6 people, and each person, like I would have a dildo on my forehead. Okay, you'd be wearing these big boots on your hands. You would have like a toilet seat around your neck. This person over here would be wearing a boa. This person over here would be wearing something. So we'd all walk together into stores, and whoever laughed first basically had to stop and roll the dice. So if I laughed, I lost that round. So we'd roll the dice, it would land on number 1, which is yours. You got to get out of your thing, and I had to now wear the dildo on my head and the toilet seat around my head. So by the end of the thing, you know, you're basically walking by yourself back to wherever you are with a boa, toilet seat, whatever you got, and the group's away from you.
I'm picturing Steve Martin from The Jerk as he's walking.
Kind of like that.
All that stuff, yeah.
Kind of like that, but that was another thing to make it fun. Like when you can make going against the grain or the unexpected fun, mm-hmm. then it becomes more exciting and more acceptable.
And you learn faster.
And plus you're laughing. Yeah. Like laughter is one of the greatest things for you. It's one of the most healing things for you. So, you know, if I'm doing this and I'm having fun, I'm laughing and I'm enjoying myself, other people look at you like you're crazy, but that's okay. I'm not hurting you.
Want to play this game?
Why not?
we might be in trouble. We should do hidden camera footage of us walking around doing this.
It was cool. So, like, to me, it was like I was always the catalyst for that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And that's just, I guess, the way it's always been.
I think it's a great thing. Because I'm a firm believer in pushing those boundaries. I'm a firm believer. My whole life has literally changed from completely shutting inward by doing stuff like that. By pushing my boundaries, taking a risk, and constantly finding more tension, stress to get comfortable in. And I think that's why I admire your work so much. Speaking of that, one of the areas that you were very adamant about, and I remember you saying this in the expression videos we did, is you talked a lot about how there's a lot of young people today living alternative lives, and they're not living the social norms when it comes to relationship, and they're living outside the box, whether that's polyamorous, pansexual, polysexual, as you put it. And can you talk a little bit about that? Why that is, and
well, the way that
why the world is changing.
The way the younger generation's coming up, it's coming up on a lot of porn. Okay, and so and if you look at all the rock videos and all the hip hop videos, it's all based around sexuality. So they're thinking to be cool, you have to be sexual. And I'm an extremely sexual person, but the point that they're missing is that there is there's a wholeness in it. You have to be connected, not to your sensuality, but connected to your spirituality, your emotions, and everything like this. Whereas a lot of the kids right now, which is fine, they're exploring this whole sexual side. It's cool to be bisexual as a woman. If you're not bisexual as a woman, you're actually kind of prudish in the way that they're trying to, manipulate the senses. So this whole generation is coming up based on it. That's why I said in Metawhore, like there's a revolution going to come. And when we were young, if I want to go jerk off or whatever, I had to go find a Playboy with one static picture there, or find a National Geographic. That's it.
That's true.
When you're growing up now, you can go get, game bang. Oh, there you go. You can get, like I said, 2 girls, 1 cup. Look at that one.
Yeah.
So the kids their brains are being exposed to a much more extreme sexual thing. So that's why the kids these days are going to be exploring a lot more, because they think that's normal. Is it normal? I don't know. I mean, I live an extremely kind of polyamorous, polysexual lifestyle, but I have a different base. I have a different foundation. I know myself.
Basically, you have a wife and several girlfriends, right?
Yeah.
She has a girlfriend, at least one, right? And
sometimes 2.
Okay.
It's not like that. It's like
it's not all about you. It's about
It's about. I mean, last week, a girl that came over. They came over. We kicked it for the whole weekend. Everything was there, and it was okay, because there's no jealousy about that. I mean, it's just an openness. It's a friendship. It's more of a friendship. You're laying there. It's loving. It's comforting. We'll go eat together. We laugh together and stuff like this. It's not the reptilian brain about controlling and this is mine. It's open, and it's like I said, it's not the easiest thing, and no relationship's easy, but there's always levels that you hit and you explore, and you learn to work with them, and they evolve and they go and they come and they go. It's just, what is it that you want to live?
Do you think you are able to live this lifestyle, open-minded sexuality, and have another partners, because you went through a phase before of challenging yourself, being curious, and accepting yourself in other different ways? And you think that maybe let your ego go and not be what you were saying just right before, like not selfish and about?
It could be 22 years in a strip club could definitely warp the way my mind is on a certain level. So that's the reality. Like, I say things and do things that I think are normal. People are like, "Whoa, dude, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Like Mardi Gras. Let's just say Mardi Gras. That's the last thing. We're sitting there and there's a whole party going on, and I was having sex with the girl in the middle of the party, and I was just kind of oblivious to the party. We're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Just enjoying myself." What are you talking about? They're like, "Dude, you're like in the middle of the party having sex with this girl," and I didn't really think about it, because I just don't think about it. It's just kind of more of like, this is just kind of natural and stuff like this. So maybe a lot of it had to do with unlearning, but a lot of it has to do with, that's the 22 years of growing up in that kind of culture of sexuality, of manipulation, of seduction, that's kind of what I see. So that's kind of what it is.
Do you practice any religion?
No.
No.
I mean,
any philosophy that you follow? Nothing?
No. My philosophy is be happy. Be happy and do your best to help others, and that works great. Like, if you look at my house, 4 weeks ago, I had one guy said, I had a manager of mine, black gay guy living here. He was gay. He had a heart attack. He was basically going on the street because he didn't have any money. Boom, he's out. I had a Bulgarian kid that my wife's friend. He was staying here. I was supposed to stay for a month, 6 months, no rent. So it's 2 people staying there. Third guy, 61 years old, running into some problems with the law. Another guy, he was staying here. All rent-free. I'm taking care of everything, making sure people, and Mark, a contractor, which is across the street, he comes out here to work. He's staying here. I got his dad staying here right now. So these are all things that I do. And
that maybe different people with more straight clothes, let's not say clothes, but mentalities wouldn't.
Well, the thing is, you have religion, and religion, okay, I'm helping people. I'm helping people.
So you genuinely like doing this? You like taking the people in and helping these people?
Not all the time. Sometimes it depends. But I'm compassionate enough and empathetic enough to the point where, if that happened to me, I would be grateful. I'd be glad that someone looked out for me.
But it seems like it's part of your nature, where some people do it out of obligation.
Yeah,
and are you do it? There's not a part of you doing it out of obligation. You're doing it because you want to have a house where people.
I like people. I love people. I'm compassionate. I'm humanistic. I'm an Aquarius.
Nice.
So, that's the way it is. And a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't do that. No, I should do that. That feels right to me. So when I talk about religion, my religion for myself, my philosophy works perfectly. I don't hurt people. I help people. And I'm as positive as possible.
When you talked about the polysexual, polyamorous lifestyle, I was trying to figure out, do you think it's a healthy lifestyle for people? Do you think it's a real alternative today for a healthy, real relationship for somebody that wants that lifestyle?
For someone that wants it and someone that feels that that's a natural part of them, absolutely.
Okay.
People
There's
that
real
don't,
connection, real depth. Is what
there can be, and there can be other stuff. Like, I don't get into the swingers.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to just go and connect with people just to have, hey, you want to fuck my chick? Hey, can I fuck your chick? That doesn't work for me.
Right.
Okay, so it just, personally, I want a connection. I want a relationship. I want a friendship. I want to care about the person.
So most of the girls that you're with, there's some level of relationship. It's not like one night stands and stuff like that.
It has been, but I mean, I would, there's plenty of those, but it's more like there's always some kind of communication going on. Like, I just don't want to go to a place and be like, that's just my own personal understanding of what it is. So some people, hey, the lifestyle's not for them at all. Some people, hey, I'm envious sometimes of people that have one-on-one relationships that are so like my parents in almost 50 years. Completely different from me. But I can look at that and respect that and be like, that's really cool.
Nice.
That's really cool. More power to people that have that. And more power to people that have whatever lifestyle. If you're gay, whatever, cool. Whatever you want to do is like I said, as long as you're not hurting someone else. You don't need to force anyone's thing. That's what all this bullshit religion. That's why I'm not a fan of religion, because religion just kills millions and millions and millions of people. To this day, all about religion, all about some God. Okay, I believe we're gods. That's the way it is. And this is the lifestyle, and this is the godliness that I want. And the way I break it down is, what if everyone on the planet was exactly like me? What kind of world would we live in? Be a beautiful, loving, sharing, sexual, happy world.
For somebody that wants to explore that lifestyle, that's never explored it, where should they start? That really wants to take a look, I've never done this. I'm not sure. For me personally, I wouldn't want them to go so fast that they destroy stuff.
Well, I wouldn't just go right into it. I would understand. I want to understand and have a philosophy as a foundation first.
Mm-hmm.
If you go in, you can get tore up. You can get emotional. You got different girls all of a sudden you're having sex with her. Now she's having sex with them. You really got to know what your philosophy is about that. About your openness to explore other people, of yourself, what it means to you, jealousy. I mean, it's a can of worms.
I've seen this, by the way. I've seen guys that they open a relationship and they think it's going to be all hunky-dory and they're excited because they get to have sex with other girls, and then suddenly they get massively jealous and their whole world falls apart and they don't know what to fucking do. And so...
Yeah, but that's, you knew the job was dangerous when you took it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I look at it.
And again, like you said earlier, they just had an experience and they're learning and growing now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So, like I said, I can't really prep a person for it. There's nothing I can do to really say this is what's going to prep you. The only thing I can do is get ready for a wild ride, because your relationship with you may be different. Your dynamics to me may be different. Like, you don't know. You can't cookie cut that and go, here you go. So the only thing I can prepare you is do you feel that this is something that's right for you, that you want to explore? And when that person says yes, the learnings will come.
Yes. And you believe that you can, some people say, you can only have romantic love for one person. So your mindset is what is it around romantic love for the women you're with?
Romantic love?
Or do you even believe in it?
I don't know so much about romantic love. I believe in loving and caring love.
But when I say romantic, I'm thinking of the love where you want to be sexual with somebody in that sense.
That's just natural.
Actually, that's not 100% true either.
I can't even label that.
Because you want to have sex with somebody, and you could want to actually be romantic and really deep with somebody. They're a little two different things, really, honestly.
No, to me it's not. To me it's not. Like, I look at it like, when I'm with a person, I can instantly go deep with that person and go there, because I am that. Mm-hmm. I am the sex energy. That's what I'm from. That's what you're from. That's what she's from. We're from the sex energy. That's the genesis. That's what the commencement of life is from that. So if you resonate strong, that's who you are, and I believe that. So it's already there. You don't have to go anywhere. It's not a separate state. It is a passionate state. It is who you are.
But there's some girls and women that you probably want to go deep with, but maybe not have sex with. There's other women you want to have sex with, go deep with, both.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some women you just want to have sex with. Is that true?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes down to being able to read a situation, being able to realize, I may want to really have sex with a girl, but I can tell her mindset isn't mature enough. I'm not going to do it. You know, if I'm with a girl and we're partying and she's too drunk, I'm not going to do it. So it's one of these things. I don't need to have sex. I enjoy having sex, but it doesn't make me. Whereas a lot of guys say, "Oh, I got to conquer." It's not about that. I've already been down that road and beyond it. You know, that's not going to bring me anything. It's going to expand a little awareness of me and that person, but it's not going to make me. It's not going to validate me. It's not going to do any of that stuff. So that's the difference. Whereas a lot of guys are like, I mean, it's sad now. But if you look on Facebook, you know, guys are putting their posters up there like, "This is me with 10 girls. This is me with this." Like, you know, doing one of these things, and it's like that girl's not. She's not validating you. You know, so every time I see that, or I don't even accept guys on Facebook as Facebook friends that are like, you know, "Who is Don Juan Master J?" I don't accept it. And if you can't give me your real name.
Yeah, I get those all the time.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I always make the same question. In love, we're talking about sex here, and he was talking about deep relationships and getting deeper with a person. Love, does it happen to you all the time? Can you be in love with 2 women at the same time?
Absolutely. Well, I can be in love with 3 or 4 people. It's just different. It's like I said, they're multi-universes. Like I can explore love with you and take it all in this direction where we're in love to go walking on a trail or whatever, you know. In this direction over here, it's all about the intelligence. It's all about maybe connection. Over here, maybe it's just purely physical. You love the person. You love each person as a unique, independent relationship. And so your ability to love is open. And it can, like I said, it's one of these things where I tell guys, I go, if you're going to be in this lifestyle, you've got to be prepared to take the sting, because not all people, some people may want to come in and explore it, and that's okay. They'll come in and explore it, but it might not be for them, so they might want a one-on-one relationship. So if you're connecting and you're falling in love, and all of a sudden she's like, "Hey, you know what, like, it's maybe not all that I wanted. I explored it. It was cool. It's like a good experience. I understand now. I learned more about myself, but I want more things." So all of a sudden, they go out of your life. You're going to feel the sting. So if you're, like I said, this isn't an easy way. So if you can dish it out, if you can say, "I want multiple women," you got to be able to take those stings in the heart and not harden from it, and be able to say, "Okay, cool. Like, ooh, that hurt." Okay, and be open to it and not shut it down so it becomes cold and hard. Let it tenderize you.
Yeah, I see that a lot. A lot of guys who want to get multiple women, but they don't want to.
They don't want to hurt.
They don't want to open their heart. They just want to have sex with multiple. I literally had a client say that to me once. He said, I was talking to him about opening and connecting more with women, and he said, "I want to connect with women. I just want to fuck them." And I was like, "Whoa, you're gonna have a hard time with women if you don't."
That's an adolescent mindset.
It's very adolescent, yeah.
You know, I mean, and that's where a lot of guys are, and I was there. I was 21. You're just not thinking that. As you get more mature and your hormones settle down, you broaden your vision of what's possible and things like that. Then you kind of add that in. It's one of those things that you know, you're young, dumb, and full of cum at that level. You're just going off your hormones, and that's what it is. So when I hear guys talk like that, you know, I just kind of look at them like they're missing a big picture. When guys say, "Oh, she's a 9, she's a 10," I just look at them like, you're so limited. You're so limited because you know, that's going to go away. You know, so I always give guys like a double scale. If you're going to use a scale, use 2 scales. One is their looks, if you want, and one is their personality. Find out a mix of where they're at, and then go with the balance. Like, okay, 15. I said, that's better than what you're thinking. Is it proper? No, it's not proper. You know, but get to know the person. Like when I was in Metawhore, when I was talking about when I had sex with that older woman, I don't know, older, she was like 200 something pounds. You know, what it did is a lot of guys were like, "Oh, you got to do this," but I went with the flow. It was something that I experienced, and it blew my mindset about who I could explore pleasure with. I enjoyed my experience with her. I enjoyed being with that lady. It was fun. Was it a very different situation than I'm normally used to? Yeah, but it blew my model out, because before I was like, "Oh, I have to look like this and this and this and this and this." But after I enjoyed that, and I was like, that was cool. Like, that was a cool experience. We had fun together. It was cool. It was different. Then everything else opened up between. And so I was like, you know, short, heavier, blonde, brunette, whatever. It opened up my own ability to explore more pleasure.
What do you look for exactly? What can you say you look for in a woman?
Personality right from the get-go. the ability to be compassionate, loving, nurturing, feminine. If you don't have a sense of humor, and you can't laugh, and you can't have a good vision, and you can't be caring and nurturing, you know, like I said, I'm in a strip club right now, 18 years and up. So I see pretty girls that just think it's all that. Not even a smidgen. So if they came up to me and said, Eric, I'd like to have sex with you, I would just kind of be like, you know, it's just not.
I think that happens with emotional maturity. And I'm not even going to say age, I'm going to say emotional maturity, because I've talked to guys who are like, oh, that girl's ugly, this girl's ugly, oh, I like that girl, I don't like this girl. And I'm like, and I look at 90% of the girls they just said, and I said, they're all pretty. You know, every one of those girls is potentially very beautiful. They're all very attractive women. They literally were. Just they all had their little tiny world of girls that they would accept.
Yeah.
But I said, all you're talking about right now is looks. None of it are you saying, okay, they're all attractive. What are each of their personalities like?
Yeah.
Who's really inside each one of these attractive bodies? And because they had associated attractiveness with just a tiny little sliver of looks.
Yeah.
And one of them, one of the guys would look at one girl, think that's a 10, another one say that's a 6, and their number scales, you know, because she didn't have the right color hair, or she didn't have the right this, and
I was there. There was a point in time.
And I was too. That's the funny part. The girls I wanted to date when I was young, the sliver was so much smaller. And as I got older, it was like, oh, she's interesting. She's interesting. Okay, it wasn't. You're right. You think about it, it was less and less about looks, more and more about
and you know what? And I'm way more attracted now to a woman's persona. I can get absolutely turned on by a woman's persona and her personality.
Mm-hmm.
Like that can just rev me up.
Yeah,
and
I
so
like that.
that's different. And the way I look at it is, okay, if I was blind or blindfolded and we were having conversations, which person in the room would I be attracted to? Where would I go? And I was like, oh, I can't really bond with it. I can feel this girl's energy. I can sense, you know, there's excitement in her voice. There's this, there's that. I'm more attracted there. And you open your eyes, that would be a great experiment to find out when, you know, when this girl's like, oh, you know, what are we going to do? Oh, that's it.
They did a TV show like that once. It was one of those dating shows, and they got like 10 guys, and they masked them all. And the girls got to know, the girl who had to pick one, got to know them all with masks on. And in the end, she had to pick one.
What would be like an ideal world life for you?
Ideal world, 2 girls that I'm into that also maybe want to, you know, I call it hunting. Let's go hunt. Let's go out and have fun, you know, together and do that. Like I live my ideal world. I'm pretty much like 99.9% living my ideal world. It's not far away. So this is kind of the lifestyle I'm living right now is pretty close to it. You know, maybe a little bit more connected with, you know, one that kind of comes and goes and stuff like this, but that comes down to the whole group dynamic.
Now, you would say right now that, would you say you have that now, that sense of love, where you have somebody that you're really deeply in love with,
Yeah.
and that you
and it's
close to?
And yeah, and like I said, I still go out there and I still do the things I do in my lifestyle because that's just, you know, where I'm at with it. So it's perfect for me.
This is what a lot of people wonder. This is a big question, I think, on women's minds and other guys' minds. What if you meet somebody that you get all crazy about? What happens to the other women in your life?
That doesn't even compute because that's not even an option. Like I would never. I'm loyal first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll never shoot one down or whatever. That doesn't happen. I've had those arguments in the past in the earlier phase of this because they think someone else is going to come in. I go, no, you got it all wrong. Like, you know, you understanding my lifestyle is going to make you 100 times more attractive because that means our energies are more aligned compared to, you know, what the other thing is. That just wouldn't happen. I mean, I know myself enough, and that's the biggest thing is know yourself. Now, I would walk away from a situation like that. If someone said you have to choose, I'd just walk away from everything, and I would never choose one person over the other.
So this comes back to what we talked about in the beginning. You know, you created your lifestyle because you know what you want. You're very clear.
I'm very clear.
You're very good. You're very good at creating the lifestyle that you've chosen and inviting people into it.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's the thing. I mean, and like I said, there's a lot of exploring. There's a lot of stuff you got to do. It's a path of spirituality.
Yeah.
You understand that. You know who you are. You know what you're going to put up with, what you're not going to put up with, anything. And like I don't put up with. There's certain things as a man that I don't put up with. I don't do manipulation. I don't do guilt. I don't do any of those things. So when someone comes on and says, "Oh, you should," hey, I'll just walk away. I say, you know, I'm not going to put the seatbelt on. You're not strapping me in for this guilt trip. It's not going to happen. or if, I mean, I'm very aware of things like that. Even if someone comes up to me and says, don't you want to go do this? I said, why don't you just tell me that you would like me to go do this, would I go do it? My mental self. Okay, this was done probably 20-something years ago. My mental self. I'll just read you the first thing. My mental self is fun and radiating happy. All situations of my life are wonderful. I have a childlike playfulness, and I enjoy playing and being at peace. My imagination is outrageous. I have a serene mind that is passionate about life. I'm passionate about life. I'm exhilarated about life. My mental mind is free and playful and happy. Live life outrageously. I enjoy all of nature's wonders, and I take the time to worship its beauty. I see, hear, feel the beauty in everything. Okay, this is 2 pages back. Then I got my pictures there, and basically this is about being playful, being childlike, enjoying that, keeping that.
It's like one of those collages people hang.
Yeah. I mean, that's this. This or something better for you now manifests itself.
This is really cool.
Yeah, open, funny, humorous, loving, blah, blah, blah. Dream Girl, 1 page, 2 page, 3 page, 4 page, 5 page.
Dream girl?
Dream Girl. Like the
The girl
girl.
gets 5, 6 pages.
Yeah, it's a little more important to me. Like physical body. I mean, and it's funny. Like, see how I even got the money. I'm successful. At the time, I was like, like $75 per hour. That was way back then. I have to cross it out because I read it again after and be like, oh no, these things, friends, relationships, the people, self-image, self-confidence.
So this is in a sense of math for your life.
Career, yeah.
Yeah.
Spiritual, that's, everything. Vision of, angel relationships, like spiritual, things like this.
Beautiful.
Like, so when I know what I want, I took the time. I sat down, and people spend more time watching crap TV than designing their life.
So what would you say to somebody, because I've met a lot of people that do stuff like this and don't seem to get anywhere with it. What would you say
They
to
probably
help?
they don't study it enough. Like, I spent 21 days of reading every single thing every day, like right before I went to bed and before I woke up, or as I was waking up. I would go through there, and I didn't just read it. Like, my mental self was fun and radiant. Like, I was like, my mental self is fun and radiant. Like, I was creating the mindset. I was creating what it would feel like. I went slow. Like, I immersed myself in it. I played music to the background to get more of a synesthesia, blending some music to this. And so I could get into it. My mental self is fun, and play with it. I want to get into my system, into my body. And that's where it is. It's not about being like, I'm confident. It's about being like,
Not the screaming at the top of your lungs.
Yeah, you don't have to be like, I'm rocket star.
We call that state bombing.
I'm a rock star. Like, it's a matter of fact. And so, the reason I brought that up is just because we said, do I know myself? Yeah. Because I wrote it down. I know what I want.
So
and this needs updating. Because everything in here, pretty much, for the most part, has hit its goal.
It's beautiful to show us that. I appreciate that. Thank you. That's a personal thing right there, and a very powerful thing. I can see, you can feel it when you show it to me. And so you would say that a huge piece of that, a big piece of that, is really about not just getting out of the head, but down to the body.
Absolutely.
Getting you to feel it.
You have to feel it. It's got to resonate a frequency. And see, I've been saying that a lot more. Like, my frequency is just different. And this is one of the metaphors or the analogies that I actually used when I'm having someone understand what I want, or we're not even going to work together. Because I said, look, my lifestyle consists of 1,500 hertz. All right. Now, you want, say, a kid, or you want a certain relationship, and you don't want to go out. Well, mine wants those qualities. Yours doesn't. So yours is resonating at 500, and that's perfect for it. You want that, you absolutely can deserve to have that. Go for it. Okay. But if you're going to try to stay in the relationship with me, I understand that subconsciously your energy is going to be trying to sabotage mine. Okay. It's going to be trying to pull mine down, and vice versa. Mine's going to try to pull yours up. So I said, if our frequencies aren't vibing or mixing or complementing each other, then there's no reason for us to go on, because it's just going to be a struggle. It's going to be a torture. So understand what we want. Understand it's not going to happen, and that's okay.
Nice. Beautifully said.
Does it happen to you that the more you get to know yourself, the more you challenge yourself, the more you go inside and you see who you really are, the more you get to know your issues? Do you still have a lot of issues?
Now, the way I look at it is you start from the inside. Mm-hmm. You build yourself out, and then you expand. It's not about you anymore. and it's about helping other people. So it's like, I know myself. I know what I don't need to go inside anymore. I've confronted my issues, demons, or whatever you want to call it.
Self-image, all of these fears.
Yeah, like I've settled, you know, any angers that I had, any of that stuff. I put my time in. It's kind of like when you first weed. You have a garden, and you're like, okay, so you're like, damn, look at all these weeds and shit. So you spend most time like picking out the weeds and killing it. That takes a while, and then you plant the seeds you want to plant, and all of a sudden they grow, and you water them, and some weeds come up. And so you take the time, you take a little bit of time every day, and you weed. You get around, you weed the weeds, and you leave the good stuff. And then pretty soon you get to the point where, you know what, there's just no weeds. It's all good stuff. So what do you do with that? Well, I could sit there and hoard it myself. I could go looking for weeds, you know, or I could just go, this is my garden, enjoy it. Hey, I'd like to share some food with people. So it's not even about me anymore. It's about, you know, other people. You know, so it's like how much self-exploration can you do? How much detox can you do? I've seen people their whole life, you know, completely like trying to reinvent themselves. You know, what do I have to detox? They spend their whole life detoxing, or it's a trap. So when you can get out of that and be like, okay, cool, like I'm peaceful, I'm enjoying my life. Let me share that. That's to me the next level.
And that's a big piece, because I see that with all successful people. When they reach a level of abundance and they really resolve their stuff with themselves, like Richard Branson's a good example. They turn their focus on, his thing is global warming and clean burning jets. How do I donate all my profits so I can create clean burning fuels for the jets so we're not polluting the skies? How can we, you know, I see more and more successful people doing this. You know, you even see it with Bill Gates still out here, the Gates Foundation, that's just helping.
He's doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
You know, and then that's that level. Am I at that level? No, I mean, it's unfortunately that's what Piracy does. You know, but there's those people, and those are the true leaders that I see. Before, like I said, it was, you know, when you're looking back at, you know, like you said, you got the Vanderbilts and you got the Rothschilds, and you got all these people that struggling for the oil and the war. It was just control. It was like dominating. It was like put the other one out, and you know, and put down other people that are exploring stuff that may tap into our profits and stuff like this. When now it should be about, like, this is about a bigger picture. Like we're looking at like what our kids, you know, if we continue this path and all this stuff, we're not going to have healthy kids. Like the DNA is already going down. All the food that people are eating is like Franken food. You know, it's all created and mixed together. That's not food. Yeah. So it's weakening our DNA structure, which is going to make younger, dumber, unhealthier people, and humanity takes the downward spiral compared to people that have money that can do that and step up and say, no, this is the direction we need to take it.
And there's more and more people working on that. You know,
let's
get rid of the GMOs. Let's do this. Let's create healthy food again. Let's get rid of all this control of corporations over our food. Big deal.
It's interesting.
And it's interesting we come back to food because, you know, I personally believe beliefs are very important, but if you've got a healthy, clean diet and a clean energy in your body, those beliefs change so much easier. So much easier.
You're just radiating at a different frequency.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Killer photography, you know, you can see like cooked food, dead food, live food when they put it under there. It's vibrant, it's bright. And you look at a piece of meat under there, it's like actually black energy. So, you know, you've got to figure out where's the energy at that you want. And like I said, when I've been clean, I've been on it, I just wake up, I'm pow.
Mm-hmm. I've had that experience.
Yeah.
And I get a little bit of the wrong food. And what I always notice is when I started eating those damn power bars, some type of energy bar, I think, oh, I'll just eat a little bit of this. A week later, I can't hardly get out of bed because I'll find some chemical or just some type of a little bit of sugar in there that is still technically natural, but they refined it so much that you know, and
it's
that
sweet
stuff
poison,
and it all takes me out. All of it.
It's funny because the first time if I do a 3-day fast on green juice, instantly after 3 days, all my sugar cravings go. Every corporation has a scientific people that's their job. Their only job is to find out what makes it addictive.
McDonald's and
the
tobacco companies, I've seen them do that.
They're like 1 molecule away from being a complete opiate.
Yeah.
You know, or the structure was shifted just a little bit. But that's sick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like having kids eat this stuff like that's sick to me. That's those people. If there was a hell, welcome to it.
This whole movie about that with the tobacco company, right? Where they it was in the, what year was that, 70s, 80s, there was that guy who did a big battle with tobacco companies to expose the fact that they were literally doing all those studies to try to figure out how to make cigarettes instantly addictive, and there were just tons and tons of chemicals in cigarettes to try to figure out which ones would cause you, besides nicotine, from formaldehyde to rat poison type stuff and all kinds of crap.
That's
sugars,
that's
to pure
failing as a
sugar.
human being.
Yeah,
When you do that and you come back there, that's failing. Completely failing. That's like when God looks at you, he's gonna bitch slap you. Right? Yeah, however you want to look
sooner
at
the
it.
better.
Yeah, I mean, so, it's just so far away from my mindset that all I can think of is just a sick and twisted reality of how you could even live with yourself that way.
How do we make the world a better place? And on that note, I got a question for you. What can you tell people a little bit about your work, what you do, how you help mainly men, maybe women? Talk about that.
Well, men is basically about their core confidence, about understanding what they want, who they are, what resources they need to build to get them the results that they would want for themselves. And a lot of it comes down to the real responsibility of being able to do that. So it's that's kind of what I do. I mean, I can't really say I do one thing because I do hypnosis, I do neurosemantics, I do whatever shamanistic stuff. I bring a person into my world, and we just kind of say, okay, where are you at? And I can break them down with their beliefs, all kinds of stuff. It really depends. The thing is, I can help them get to where they want to go because I have a lot of tools and I have a lot of flexibility in my thinking. So ultimately, they're going to do it, but I can make their journey probably a lot easier.
Can you share workshops, privates? How would they get a hold of you? How would they do that?
Just through my website. I'm about to just do like a 3-person boot camp right across the other house that I'm building up right now, because I want that experience. I want people to say, okay, come on, like it's just the power of what 3 little measly weeks can do to a person if you just are focused, if you're just attuned and you know exactly what it is you want, and you have healthy people around you that are on the frequency that you want, that are going to support you, how fast and how powerful you can completely transform your life. So, I'm excited about
So it's a live-in 3-week boot camp.
Oh yeah.
3 days, 3
You
people,
won't,
3
you
weeks.
can't fail. There will be no crap food. I mean, like I have roommates here, and it could be a struggle. Like every night one guy brings pizza home. I open up the thing, there's ice cream. There's chips.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, okay, I've flundered many times.
Yeah.
Come home and I'm just hungry, and it's late at night, and I'm like, So, yeah, it's. But I also know if that wasn't here, and there was healthy people here, I'd come home with that. I wouldn't have failed. So a lot of it has to do with your environment, the energy you're with, and understanding like, hey, this. Whether you like it, believe it or not, it will affect your energy. Like I said, you're lazy, you're not going to work out, you're 500 hertz. I want to get to 1900 hertz, which is full rock star, feeling good, like welcome to the planet Earth. And this is what it's here. I have to be resonating at a certain frequency if I'm going to do this. If I'm going to put my energy out, if I'm a healer and I put my hand there, if I'm going to heal this person, I need to be at a certain frequency that's going to completely take away that cancer or whatever it is. It's what they're doing anyways. Like in Germany, with some of these machines that you can connect yourself to. I mean, they can tell you that what frequencies are going on 10 years from now, what you're probably going to have, like all kinds of stuff. So it's pretty
I
interesting.
have to look into these machines.
Have you achieved all your goals in your life, or there's still more?
I have one goal that I haven't achieved, and that's to become a millionaire. And it's funny, and this is what I was talking about, the pirating. It's funny because technically I've hit that, but I haven't hit it. If you looked at like last year, if you take all my programs, I think there was like 1.4, this is just off one website, Pirate Bay, so karma, be careful, $1.4 million of my product was legally downloaded. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to my wife about it, and I basically said, people don't understand the cycle of just taking stuff, like in the universe. I said, because I pay musicians, I pay people that do artwork, I pay people that put it up on the web. I said, so and that money helps go to the people that I take care of. So people say, well, why are you still running a strip club? Because people steal from me. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, technically, am I a millionaire? Yeah, in my mind I am, because I already had that. There's been way more money that I downloaded from there. But I said, but people don't realize that when you take away from this, you take away from the people that I can help more. Like I have people that are hooked on heroin that house will be used for. So how much
You mean
more?
the house across the street?
Across the street.
You
It'll be a
okay.
boot camp. I have people that are stuck on heroin that I'm gonna, let them, and I'm gonna break them down. Like I have that strength for me. But how effective can I be if, I have to work more jobs because, I have to pay more people, like my musician's gonna make more money. Everyone's gonna come rolling upwards. It helps everyone. I don't have to work, I'm not as fragmented because I'm picking up a job over here, picking up a job over here, because people just steal, basically. So that's the only goal that I haven't yet hit, but I have hit it. So to me, it's like, okay, well, I'm going to step it up again, and I'm going to bring more, and I'm going to come at it again. So am I a millionaire? I should be, if the whole world was honest. So that's the only one. Physically, have I put it in there? Have I even made it close to it? Not yet. But I will. So that's the only thing I really have hit. And it's funny that it comes full circle. Because at first, I wanted to find happiness throughout that. So I lived on the street. I lived in the loft. You lived with a very austere lifestyle. And then you get to the point where you're like, okay, I can live happy anywhere, anytime, doing anything. Now it comes down to money and creation. And like I said, if you're Bill Gates, how much more can I affect the earth? If I made $1 million, if people actually paid for it or just even donated and put it in and say, hey, this is what this project's for. All this money goes to help people that are on drugs that can't go into programs. These are all things that I'm doing to help people. If that was there, then all these people would get helped and then humanity would become better. So it's kind of like, where's that fine line? And that's the whole point is if I made $1 million to 1.4 that was ripped off from my stuff, how much better would I be? Maybe it's just this house, or maybe I have a whole center now where I can afford, because that's subsidizing my income to help other people, more people. So that's kind of
And with all that said, you're still not doing too bad. You got 2 houses, but you're far from where you should be. I would say.
It's definitely not a big jump between now and homeless. It's literally that far away. I have to work in a job, get fired, whatever happens. I'm like everyone else.
But what I meant by that was you are still managing to create your dream, and you're still managing to make it happen. And it shows your skill set in creating your world.
Whatever has to happen happens.
Yeah.
I'm okay. Like people are like, sometimes I'll be picking up a party and a bus for the strip club. And this has actually happened. I had an actual PUA company that was in San Diego actually get in the bus and recognize me. And so it's like, okay, here's this guy, I'm driving a bus, I'm cool, I'm calm, and stuff like this, and they're in this trying to teach guys, I'm listening to them, I'm just in the back going, oh my God, these poor guys are just learning so terrible stuff. But it doesn't affect me. Like, I can do anything. I could go clean up crap, I could go paint, it doesn't affect who I am. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get there no matter what.
Yeah, because you're willing to do it.
I'm willing to do what I have to do and adapt. So MP3 and downloads and pirating, that's a
trait of successful people. I can't tell you how many times I've watched and read about successful people who are willing to do. They go from success to doing crap jobs that they have to, and they do it happily, and then they come back up, and then they do it again until they finally get rise to the top. Your friend, she has a friend that just moved to the U.S. from Mexico City, and he
Colombia friend.
It's a TV celebrity in a sense, sportscast or newscaster. Mm-hmm. And because he hasn't got his visa to work there yet, he's cleaning houses, doing his thing. He's happy.
That's commendable.
And he does it perfectly. Yeah. Everyone's happy with his job.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the pride that you take. It's not the pride of doing your job. It's the pride of who you are and how you're doing that job.
Yeah.
And that's like strip clubs. People give strip clubs a bad name, but I have the utmost respect for a lot of those women. A lot of these women have been with guys who basically took off. You got a single mom, paying the bills, working 8 hours in stilettos, dealing with sometimes assholes that, oh, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too this, you're too that. Like, all that because she's manning up because some guy didn't. The typical stereotype of a strip club, oh, wild and crazy and girls. You know, there's a lot of
I
very
think-
dedicated women there.
I think the average guy, young guy, pictures these strippers making all this money, and it's just not exactly true.
No, not always, you know. And like I said, the other thing, like I said, the strip club has been my laboratory. That's where I've learned the most. And I've learned things that most people never even think of. In the strip club, for men past a certain age, okay, and I say this like it's for a woman, it's a choice to get laid. For a man, it's a chore for the most part. You know, the men have to go out there and do it, and things like this. And where in society can a man go who's 50, who can still have a normal conversation with maybe a woman who's younger, maybe with a woman in general, without being creepy? So there's a reason why if you look at men that are old, above a certain age, the suicide rate is 4 times the amount of that of a woman. Because these men, maybe their wife leaves, maybe they got out of a relationship, they're older, they can't just go to the club because they're going to be creepy. Where does a man go where he can still have human contact with a woman?
I think there's a lot of men that just plain at any age don't know how to connect, and at least at a strip club, they got somebody.
Whether they're paying for it or not, it's important. You take full connection away from a baby, it dies.
Yeah.
Okay, you take full connection away from a man who maybe his wife died or his girlfriend split. Where is he at? Where does he go?
And he has very limited to no skill to meet anybody else. He's terrible at it, in other words. I see those guys. We bring them to the workshops. You've seen them too. Put them in front of a pretty girl, and they start shaking, and their whole body, nervous system freaks out, and sweating, and their whole body's telling them to run away, even though they don't want to.
Yeah, and that's what I do. That's why the strip club to me is always I've learned the most from because I see the manipulation, I see the seduction, I see the social dynamics, I see all kinds of things, and so that's why it keeps me sharp, keeps me on my toes. A lot of people, oh, it's a strip club. No, man, it's probably one of the most spiritual, warlike environments you can imagine.
Spiritual warlike, I love it.
I mean, it is. You're going to learn a lot from there.
Well, I want to thank you for this podcast today. And I want to say we are going to be speaking. Eric is also going to be speaking at the Limitless Man Summit in July in Las Vegas. It's going to be about I think it's 4 or 5 days. I can't even remember. Different speakers, over 20 different speakers. Eric is going to be one of the closing speakers, and he's going to be talking about all this stuff or different stuff. We'll see when he gets there.
Supposed to bring the heat.
Yeah, he's bringing the heat.
That's
He's
what
going to close
he said,
it
bring
out.
the heat. So
And
I'm kind of thinking about bringing the heat.
So if you want to see him in person, you want to meet him, definitely check out limitlessmansummit.com. If you want to check out Eric's stuff, it's hypnotica.org or Erik Von Sydow.
Or YouTube 144, Hypnotica 144.
And Hypnotica 144.
Hypnotica 144 is the channel.
Okay, and you can check all this in the, we'll have it in the video, so for you guys all to check out. Thank you for watching this edition of the Fearless Podcast, and remember, as always, comment below, like the video if you really enjoyed it, and we'll be answering all the comments, by the way, so any questions you got, anything we missed, definitely ask it. And what would you do if you weren't afraid?